The wind howled outside Sam Miller's cabin, bringing with it thick snow that painted the Colorado mountains white. Sam sat by his window, a cup of hot coffee warming his hands as he watched the storm grow stronger. At 42, with graying hair and tired eyes, Sam had grown used to the quiet life. He had left behind his job as a teacher at a local college 3 years ago, choosing instead to live alone in these mountains. Another night of stars hidden by clouds, he said to himself, putting down his half-empty cup. Sam's cabin was simple but comfortable. Books about space filled the shelves, and maps of stars covered the walls. In one corner sat his pride, a powerful telescope he had built himself. A radio set and 3 computers took up another corner, where Sam often spent hours listening to signals from space. The lights flickered as the storm grew stronger. Sam was checking his emergency supplies when a bright flash lit up the sky outside. For a moment it was as bright as day. Then came a sound like thunder, but sharper. What the hell was that? Sam grabbed his heavy coat and a flashlight. Too bright for lightning. Despite the howling wind, Sam stepped outside. Fresh snow crunched under his boots as he walked around his cabin. The bright flash had come from the woods about half a mile away. Something in Sam's gut told him this wasn't normal. It wasn't a plane crash. The sound was wrong. It wasn't lightning either. Sam trudged through the snow, his flashlight cutting a weak path through the darkness. The wind bit at his face, but curiosity pushed him forward. 20 minutes later, he found it. A deep trench had been cut through the snow and earth, ending at a metal object about the size of a small car. Steam rose from the snow around it as heat from the object melted the ice. The metal was smooth and silver, with no windows or doors that Sam could see. "This isn't one of ours," Sam whispered, his breath visible in the cold air. The object was like nothing he had ever seen before. No NASA markings, no Russian symbols, nothing to show it was made on Earth. As Sam moved closer, part of the object slid open with a soft hiss. Sam froze, his heart pounding in his chest. From the opening emerged a hand, but not quite a human hand. It had 5 fingers, but the skin shimmered with a blue-green color that shifted like the northern lights. Sam took a step back as a figure pulled itself from the object. It was shaped like a human, but clearly not human at all. It was smaller than Sam, maybe 5 feet tall, with a slim body. Its skin continued to shift colors, now showing purples and deep blues. Its face was almost human, but with larger, completely black eyes and no visible ears, just small openings on the sides of its head. The creature saw Sam and made a sound like singing, but with words Sam couldn't understand. It tried to stand but fell back down with a cry of pain. Sam saw that its leg was bent at a wrong angle, clearly broken. Despite its alien appearance, the pain in its face was easy to read. The storm was getting worse. Sam knew that neither of them would survive long in this cold. I won't hurt you," Sam said, knowing the creature probably couldn't understand him. He pointed to himself, then to his cabin in the distance, then made a motion like he was carrying something. The creature watched him, its skin now pulsing with red and orange colors. "Fear," Sam guessed. It said something else in its strange language, the words musical but meaningless to Sam. "You'll die out here," Sam said. "We both will." He moved slowly toward the creature, his hands open to show he meant no harm. The creature backed away but winced in pain when it put weight on its injured leg. Sam stopped, then had an idea. He took off his scarf and held it out to the creature. The alien looked at it, then at Sam, confusion clear in its large eyes. "It's okay," Sam said softly. "Just a gift to show I want to help." After a long moment, the creature reached out with a trembling hand and took the scarf. It ran its fingers over the wool, then looked back at Sam. Its skin shifted to a calmer blue. Sam pointed again to his cabin, then to the creature's leg, and made a bandaging motion. The alien seemed to understand. It nodded, a very human gesture that surprised Sam. Moving slowly, Sam helped the creature stand. It was lighter than he expected, and its body was warm despite the cold. Together they made their way through the snow toward the cabin, the storm growing fiercer around them. Inside the warm cabin, Sam helped the creature to his couch. The alien looked around with clear wonder at the human home, its skin now showing curious yellows and greens. Sam brought his first aid kit and gestured to the creature's leg. "I need to set that," he said, knowing his words weren't understood but hoping his tone was. "It's going to hurt." The creature watched as Sam examined the injury. The leg was broken, but not as badly as he had feared. The bone structure seemed similar to a human's, which was a relief. Sam had basic medical training from his years of solo hiking, enough to know how to set a simple break. As Sam worked on the leg, the creature made soft singing sounds that seemed to help it bear the pain. When he finished putting on a splint, the alien touched his hand gently. Its skin turned a warm golden color, and it made a sound that somehow felt like, "Thank you." Sam smiled. "You're welcome," he said. "I'm Sam." He pointed to himself. Sam. The creature understood. It pointed to itself and made a sound like, "Lyra." "Lyra," Sam repeated. "Well, Lyra, looks like we're stuck together for a while." He glanced out the window at the worsening storm. "No one's getting in or out of these mountains for at least a week in this weather." Sam made a simple bed for Lyra on the couch and gave her water and some fruit, not knowing what she could eat. She sniffed the apple before taking a small bite, then smiled, another surprisingly human expression. That night, as the storm raged outside, Sam lay awake in his bed. In the next room was proof that humans weren't alone in the universe. What would happen when the storm cleared? Should he tell others? Would they believe him? Would they take Lyra away to some government lab? One thing Sam knew for sure. He had just become part of something much bigger than himself. His quiet life in the mountains would never be the same again. Morning light filtered through the cabin windows as Sam woke up. For a moment he wondered if yesterday had been a dream. Then he heard a soft, musical sound from the living room and remembered the alien was real. Sam found Lyra sitting up on the couch, her large black eyes studying a book about stars that she had pulled from his shelf. Her skin was a calm blue color today, and she looked up when Sam entered the room. "Good morning," Sam said, keeping his voice gentle. "How's the leg?" Lyra tilted her head, not understanding his words but recognizing his concern. She pointed to her splinted leg and made a gesture with her hands that seemed to mean better. "Good," Sam nodded. "You hungry?" He mimed eating, and Lyra nodded back. Over breakfast, Sam watched in fascination as Lyra carefully tried each food he offered. She liked apples and bread but made a face at his coffee that made Sam laugh. It was the first time he had laughed in months. After eating, Sam pulled out a notepad and began drawing simple pictures: a person, a house, a tree. Next to each, he wrote the English word. Lyra caught on quickly. She took the pen and added her own drawings, making sounds that must be words in her language. "You're smart," Sam said, impressed by how fast she learned. By midday, they had created a small dictionary of basic words. Lyra could now say water, food, and thank you in English, while Sam learned that her musical language called these things Na'ar, Ikith, and Suvali. In the afternoon, Sam noticed Lyra looking at his radio equipment. She pointed to it, then made a motion like talking. "You want to use the radio?" Sam asked, leading her to his desk. "To call for help?" Lyra nodded eagerly. From a hidden pocket in her strange clothing, she pulled out a small device about the size of a cell phone. One side was cracked, and when she pressed its surface, it flickered weakly but didn't work. "It's broken," Sam said, understanding what she wanted. "Let me see if I can help." Sam's years of tinkering with electronics came in handy as he examined Lyra's device. It was like nothing he had ever seen before, more advanced than any Earth technology. Still, some principles seemed similar. With Lyra guiding him through gestures and their growing shared vocabulary, Sam carefully opened the device. Inside was a marvel of tiny parts that glowed with soft light. One piece was clearly damaged. Sam compared it to the parts in his old radios and found something that might work as a replacement. For hours they worked together, Lyra's slender fingers moving, with precise skill while Sam provided tools and suggestions. As they worked, the storm outside continued to howl. The radio reported that roads would be closed for days, maybe a week. They were truly isolated. By evening, they had made progress, but the device still wouldn't power on fully. Tired but not discouraged, they took a break for dinner. Sam made a simple soup, and they sat by the fireplace eating quietly. The fire's warm light played across Lyra's changing skin, now a peaceful green with touches of gold. She seemed less afraid today, more comfortable in his presence. Sam realized he, too, felt more at ease. "Where are you from?" Sam asked, pointing up to the sky. "Which star?" Lyra understood. She took Sam to the window and pointed to a spot near the constellation Lyra. Fitting, given her name. She made a series of musical sounds that Sam guessed was the name of her home. "That's very far," Sam said quietly. "You're a long way from home." Lyra's skin darkened to a sad blue. She nodded slowly. Using their growing word list and many gestures, Lyra began to tell her story. It took time, with many misunderstandings, but Sam gradually pieced it together. Lyra was a scientist, like him. Her people, who called themselves something that sounded like Illyri, had been watching Earth for many years. Lyra had been on a ship studying humans when something attacked them. Bad creatures, she called them, making her skin flash angry red when she spoke of them. She had escaped in a small pod while others from her ship were captured or killed. The attacking creatures might come looking for her. "Are they coming here? To Earth?" Sam asked, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the storm outside. Lyra's answer was unclear, but her worried expression said enough. That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He looked at maps of stars on his computer, wondering about Lyra's world and the bad creatures that might be following her. The thought that Earth might be in danger was too big to fully understand. For now, Sam decided to focus on what he could control, helping Lyra and fixing her communication device. Days passed in a pleasant routine. Mornings were spent learning language. Lyra picked up English with amazing speed, while Sam struggled, but managed to learn basic phrases in her musical language. Afternoons they worked on the device, making slow but steady progress. In the evenings they shared stories. Sam told Lyra about his life, how he had once been a teacher who loved to share his knowledge of stars with students. He didn't tell her about his wife, Kate, who had died from cancer 3 years ago, but somehow Lyra seemed to sense his loss. One evening, her skin turned a gentle purple, and she placed her hand on his, in a gesture of understanding that needed no translation. On the 5th day, as they worked on the device, Lyra suddenly looked up at Sam. "Sam," she said in her musical voice, speaking carefully in English, "why you help me?" The question surprised him. "Because you needed help," he said simply, then added, "Wouldn't your people do the same?" Lyra's skin rippled with thoughtful blues and greens. "Some would not. We watch only. No contact rule." "You mean your people have been watching Earth but don't talk to us?" "Why?" Sam asked. "Not ready," Lyra said. "Humans fight. Humans fear different." Sam couldn't argue with that. "But not all of us," he said quietly. "No," Lyra agreed, her skin warming to a friendly gold. "Not all." On the 7th day, the storm finally broke. Sunlight sparkled on the fresh snow, and the radio reported that plows would clear the mountain road soon. Sam drove his old truck into town for supplies, leaving Lyra safely hidden in the cabin. In town, Sam heard worried talk about strange lights in the sky during the storm. A news report on the store's TV caught his attention. Officials from a government agency were investigating atmospheric anomalies that might have been meteor activity. Sam recognized one of the officials, Dr. Howard, from a research lab where Sam had once worked briefly. The man had always made Sam uncomfortable with his cold approach to science. If Dr. Howard found Lyra, he would see her as a specimen to study, not a person to help. Driving back to the cabin with his supplies, Sam made a decision. He would keep Lyra's existence secret, at least for now. She deserved to be treated with dignity, not locked away in some lab. When Sam returned, he found Lyra by the window, watching the sky with worried eyes. The device lay on the table, now glowing with dim light. She had fixed it while he was gone, and the news it gave her was, "Not good?" "They come," she said simply, her skin pulsing with warning reds. "The Vorac's come to Earth." "The Vorac's?" Sam asked, his voice tight with worry. "Who are they?" Lyra's skin flashed dark red and purple as she pointed to the sky. "Bad ones. Hunters. They attacked my ship." Her English was still broken, but getting better each day. "They look for me. For any Larry." Sam looked out the window at the clear blue sky. It seemed so peaceful after the storm. But somewhere up there, danger was coming. Why would they come to Earth? What do they want? Lyra's face grew sad. They hunt. Earth has... She searched for the right word. Resources. Things they want. Like what? Oil? Gold? Lyra shook her head. Life. You. Humans. A cold feeling settled in Sam's stomach. This wasn't just about Lyra anymore. This was about all of Earth. "We need to warn people." "Who believe?" Lyra asked simply. "Government take me, study me, not listen." Sam knew she was right. If they went public, Lyra would be taken away, probably to the same lab where Dr. Howard worked. They wouldn't believe her warnings until it was too late. "How long do we have?" Sam asked. Lyra pointed to her device. 3 days. Small ship comes first. Scouts. Scouts? Hunters. They look for me. Then big ships come. Lyra's skin turned a worried blue. "I call my people. Help coming, but too slow. 8 days, maybe more." Sam paced the room, thinking hard. "We need to hide. If these scouts are looking for you, we can't stay here." That night they packed quickly. Sam took only what they needed. Food, warm clothes, his hunting rifle, a compass, and a map. Lyra gathered her device and the few tools they had been using to fix it. By dawn, they were ready. Sam led Lyra deeper into the mountains to an old mining cabin he knew about 5 miles away. It was smaller than his home, but well hidden in a narrow valley. As they hiked through the snow, Sam kept looking at the sky. "Will they see us?" he asked. "Maybe," Lyra said. "They have." She made a gesture suggesting something that could see far. "Sensors. Look for Alari life signs. My body different from humans." They reached the mining cabin by midday. It was cold and dusty inside, but the roof was solid and the walls would keep out the wind. Sam started a small fire in the old stove, being careful to keep the smoke to a minimum. "We should be safe here for a while," he said, though he wasn't fully convinced. That night they saw it. A bright light moving across the sky, too fast for a plane, too controlled for a meteor. "Vorac's scout ship," Lyra whispered, her skin pale with fear. The next morning, Sam went to check the area around the cabin. From a high ridge he could see for miles. What he saw made his heart sink. In a clearing about 3 miles away, something had landed. Even from this distance, he could tell it wasn't from Earth. Its shape was wrong, angular and threatening somehow. When Sam returned to the cabin, he found Lyra working on her device. "I saw them," he said. "They're here." Lyra nodded, not surprised. "They coming closer, they can feel me." "Then we need to keep moving," Sam said. They gathered their things and headed higher into the mountains. Sam knew these peaks well from years of hiking, but with snow still on the ground and Lyra's injured leg slowing them down, it was hard going. By late afternoon, they had reached a series of caves that Sam had explored years ago. "We'll stay here, tonight," he said, helping Lyra into the largest cave. "It's too dangerous to move in the dark." As night fell, they saw lights in the valley below, moving lights that weren't following any road. The Vorac's hunters were tracking them. "What do they look like?" Sam asked quietly as they watched the lights get closer. Lyra's skin darkened. "Tall, strong, scales like..." She pointed to a picture of a lizard in one of the books Sam had brought. "But smart, very smart." "And they have weapons?" Lyra nodded. Better than Earth guns. Energy weapons, they hunt many worlds. Sam checked his rifle. It seemed so simple compared to what Lyra described. But it was all they had. In the morning, they continued higher into the mountains. The air grew thin, and Sam worried about Lyra, who seemed to be breathing harder than normal. Her leg was healing, but the constant movement wasn't helping. By midday, they reached a narrow pass between two peaks. As they started through it, Lyra suddenly grabbed Sam's arm. "Stop," she whispered. Her skin had gone almost white with fear. "They close." Sam looked around but saw nothing. Then he heard it, a strange clicking sound coming from the rocks above them. Slowly he looked up. On the ridge stood two figures unlike anything Sam had ever seen. They were at least 7 feet tall, with powerful bodies covered in dark green scales. Their faces were flat with no nose, just breathing slits, and their eyes were yellow with black slits for pupils. They carried what looked like rifles, but there was no barrel, just a glowing end that hummed with power. "Run," Sam whispered, pulling Lyra back the way they had come. The Vorax hunters made a high, shrieking sound that echoed off the mountains. They jumped down from the ridge with surprising grace for their size and began chasing Sam and Lyra through the snow. Sam led Lyra to a narrow path that wound around the side of the mountain. It was dangerous, a steep drop on one side and loose, rocks that could give way, but it was their only chance. The Vorax followed, moving faster than Sam had hoped. "I slow you down," Lyra said between breaths. "You go. Hide." "Not a chance," Sam replied, holding her arm to help her move faster. "We stick together." They reached a wider part of the path, where large boulders had fallen from above. Sam got an idea. He positioned Lyra behind the largest boulder, then climbed up the slope a bit. "When I signal run that way," he pointed ahead. "Don't stop." The Vorax were getting closer. Sam could hear their heavy steps and strange clicking language. He waited until they were just around the bend, then pushed with all his strength against a large rock balanced on the slope. It shifted, then began to roll downward, gathering speed and dislodging other rocks as it went. "Now!" Sam shouted to Lyra. She ran forward as Sam slid down the slope. Behind them, they heard the rock slide hit with a tremendous crash, followed by a strange shrieking cry. They ran until they couldn't hear the sounds anymore, finally stopping in a small grove of pine trees. Looking back, they saw no sign of pursuit. "Did we lose them?" Sam asked, gasping for breath. Lyra closed her eyes, seeming to concentrate. "One hurt bad. Other one left him. Went back for ship." "Left him?" "They abandoned their own." Lyra nodded. "Vorax way. Weak die. Strong live." Sam thought about this. "The injured one. He might have things we could use. Weapons. Information." "Dangerous," Lyra warned, her skin showing concerned yellows. "So is doing nothing," Sam replied. "If we can get one of their weapons, we might have a chance against the other one." They carefully made their way back, staying hidden among the trees. Near the rock slide, they found him, a Vorax hunter half buried in rocks and snow. His leg was crushed and green blood stained the snow around him. His breathing was shallow and he didn't move when they approached. Sam carefully took the weapon from the Vorax's hand. It was surprisingly light, with no visible trigger, just a curved surface that fit a hand larger than Sam's. From the hunter's belt, he also took what looked like a communication device. The Vorax's eyes opened suddenly, locking onto Lyra. He made a weak, clicking sound that sounded like hate. Then went still, his yellow eyes growing dull. "He's dead," Sam said quietly. Lyra's skin showed a mix of blue sadness and green relief. "Many more coming. 8 days. My people come too late." Sam looked at the strange weapon in his hands. "Maybe not. I have an idea. I know someone who might help us. Someone who would believe you." "Who?" "Dr. Ellen Patel. She was a friend when I worked at the college. She studies space signals now. At NASA." Lyra's skin brightened with hope. "Can we trust?" Sam nodded. "Ellen always believed we weren't alone in the universe. And she's smart, smarter than me. With her help, maybe we can find a way to stop the Voraks before it's too late. Using the combination of Aelari knowledge, Voraks technology, and human ingenuity, they formulate a desperate plan. They'll use the facility's old satellite uplink to broadcast a modified signal that will mimic the signature of a much more powerful Aelari presence in the solar system. A bluff to make the Voraks believe they're outmatched. The next morning, Sam used his old cell phone to call Dr. Ellen Patel. His hands shook slightly as he dialed. What if she didn't believe him? Sam, is that really you? Ellen's voice sounded surprised but happy. It's been, 3 years? Ellen, I need your help, Sam said, keeping his voice steady. It's important. Life or death important. There was a pause. Are you in trouble, Sam? Not exactly. But I've found something. Someone. I can't explain over the phone. Can you meet me? You know I'm with NASA now, right? I can't just drop everything. Ellen, please. If I told you I had proof we're not alone in the universe, would you come? Another, longer pause. You're serious? Completely. Remember the old research station at Pikes Ridge? Meet me there tomorrow. Come alone. Please. The research station was a small facility where Sam had once worked with Ellen on a space signal project. It had been closed for years, but Sam still had a key. It was a 2-hour drive from his cabin, and with Lyra, it would take even longer on foot. They traveled, carefully avoiding roads and open areas. Lyra's leg was better, and she could move faster now. The Voraks weapon was strapped to Sam's back alongside his rifle, an odd pairing of Earth and alien technology. Ellen is a good person? Lyra asked as they walked. The best, Sam assured her. Smart, open-minded. If anyone will believe us and help, it's her. They reached the research station as the sun was setting. The small concrete building looked abandoned with dusty windows and a faded sign. Sam unlocked the door and led Lyra inside. The electricity was still connected, and old computers and radio equipment filled the main room. We can use this, Sam said, examining a satellite dish on the roof, if we can figure out how. That night they saw the Vorak scout ship fly over, searching. They hid in the dark building, not daring to turn on lights until it passed. The next morning, a car pulled up outside. Ellen had come. She was a short woman with short black hair and quick, intelligent eyes behind round glasses. She had always reminded Sam of a curious bird, constantly looking for new things to discover. When she saw Sam, she smiled and hugged him tight. You look like a mountain man now, she said, stepping back. What's this all about, Sam? Your call had me up all night. It's better if I show you, Sam said. But first, promise me you'll listen, before you run or call anyone. Ellen raised an eyebrow. That's not concerning at all. Fine, I promise. Sam led her inside where Lyra waited. When Ellen saw the alien, she froze, her mouth open in shock. Lyra's skin turned nervous yellow as she gave a small wave. Hello, Dr. Ellen, Lyra said in her musical voice. I am Lyra. Ellen stared for a long moment, then looked at Sam with wide eyes. This is real? She's real? Very real, Sam said. And we need your help. Earth needs your help. For an hour they explained everything. Lyra's ship, the Voraks attack, the hunters, and the fleet that was coming. Ellen listened, asking sharp questions and taking notes. When Sam showed her the Voraks weapon, she examined it with careful hands. This is incredible, she whispered. Terrifying, but incredible. 8 days until the main fleet arrives? 7 now, Lyra corrected. My people come too late. Ellen paced the room, thinking. No one would believe us without proof. But by the time we have proof, it will be too late. She stopped suddenly. But what if we could send a message? Make the Voraks think they're outmatched? How? Sam asked. Ellen pointed to Lyra's device. This communicates with your people, right? What if we could boost its signal? Make it seem like there's a whole Aelari fleet here already? Lyra's skin brightened with excitement. A trick. Voraks are careful, they don't fight when numbers bad. They worked through the day, connecting Lyra's device to the old satellite equipment. Ellen's knowledge of Earth technology combined with Lyra's understanding of her own device created something new, a powerful transmitter that could send a false signal into space. "It's working," Ellen said as the machines hummed to life. "But the signal is still too weak. It needs to be stronger, broadcast from higher up." Sam thought for a moment. "What about the International Space Station? Could it work from there?" Ellen gave him a look. "The ISS? Sam, we can't just walk up there and ask to use their equipment." "But you work for NASA. You must have connections." Ellen was quiet for a moment. "I do, but this is crazy. They'd never approve a mission based on—" She gestured at Lyra. "This." "Then we don't tell them the truth," Sam said. "We tell them something they'll believe. A satellite repair mission. Something urgent." Ellen sighed. "I have some pull. Maybe, just maybe, I could get approval for an emergency mission. But who would go?" "I would," Sam said without hesitation. "And Lyra. She's the only one who understands how her device works. Lyra can't go to the ISS. She's an alien. But if no one knows—" Sam looked at Lyra. "With the right clothes in a spacesuit, would anyone notice?" Before Ellen could answer, the building shook with a powerful blast. Windows shattered and dust fell from the ceiling. Outside, they heard a high-pitched shrieking sound. The other— "Hunter?" Lyra said, her skin pale with fear. "Found us." Sam grabbed the Vorax weapon. "Ellen, get to your car, take Lyra and go." "We're not leaving you," Ellen said firmly. Another blast hit the side of the building. Part of the wall crumbled. Sam knew they had minutes at most before the hunter broke through. "The transmitter," Lyra said suddenly. "It's ready enough. We can use it now." "But it's not strong enough," Ellen protested. "Not to trick Fleet." Lyra agreed. "But enough to hurt Hunter. Vorax sensors very sensitive. Too much signal pain them." Sam understood. "Like a flashbang grenade. Do it." Ellen quickly adjusted the settings while Lyra connected her device. As the wall began to break apart, Ellen hit the final switch. A high-pitched tone filled the air, painful even to human ears. Outside, they heard an agonized shriek. Sam looked through the broken wall. The Vorax hunter was on the ground, clawing at its head. Its yellow eyes were wide with pain. "Now!" Sam shouted, running outside with the alien weapon. It took him a moment to figure out how to fire it, but when he did, a burst of blue energy shot out, hitting the ground near the hunter. The creature recovered enough to fire back, missing Sam, but hitting the building. Ellen cried out as debris fell on her, cutting her arm badly. The hunter rose to its feet, towering over Sam. He fired again, this time hitting the creature in the shoulder. It shrieked but kept coming. Suddenly, Lyra was beside him, holding some kind of device she had quickly built from parts in the lab. She pressed a button, and the high-pitched tone returned, directed right at the hunter. The Vorax fell to its knees, giving Sam the chance to fire one final shot. The hunter collapsed and didn't move again. They rushed back to Ellen, who was trying to stop the bleeding on her arm. The building was badly damaged, part of the roof had collapsed, and their equipment was smoking. "I'm fine," Ellen said, wincing as Sam bandaged her arm. "But our transmitter is destroyed. The plan is ruined." "Not yet," Lyra said, her skin determined, blue. "Device still works, main part safe." She looked at Ellen. "Your plan good. ISS our only chance now." Ellen nodded slowly. "I'll make some calls. Tell them there's an urgent satellite issue that could cause global communications failure. It's not entirely a lie. If the Vorax come, all our communications will definitely fail." 3 days later, Sam found himself strapped into a seat aboard a NASA emergency launch vehicle. Beside him sat Dr. L. Ryan, a specialist in satellite communications according to her fake ID. In reality, it was Lyra, wearing a wig and large sunglasses to hide her alien features. Ellen had called in every favor she had to make this happen. "Ready?" Sam whispered to Lyra as the launch countdown began. Lyra's skin, hidden under makeup, turned a nervous but excited green. "Ready." The rocket roared to life, pushing them back in their seats as it rose toward the stars. Sam thought about how strange life was. A week ago, he had been alone in his cabin, and now he was heading to space with an alien to save Earth. Hours later, they docked with the International Space Station. The commander, a stern woman named Captain Lopez, greeted them. "Dr. Patel says this is urgent," she said, leading them to the communications module. "You have 48 hours to fix the satellite issue." Sam and Lyra set to work immediately, connecting her device to the station's powerful communication array. The ISS crew watched curiously, but asked few questions. They had their own jobs to do. "It's ready," Lyra whispered on the second day. "When we activate, it will send signal that makes Vorax think Alari fleet here. Many ships." Sam looked out the window at Earth below, beautiful and blue and completely unaware of the danger it faced. Somewhere out there, the Vorax fleet was approaching. "Do it," he said. Lyra activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the station's systems registered multiple signals being broadcast outward, each mimicking the signature of an Alari warship. For hours they waited anxiously. The deadline for the Vorax arrival came and went. Had it worked? Captain Lopez called them to the observation module. "There's something you should see," she said, pointing to a screen showing space telescope images. Several large objects had appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, then suddenly changed direction and moved away. "They're leaving," Sam said quietly. "The Vorax believed our trick." Lyra's skin turned the brightest gold Sam had ever seen. "We did it," she whispered. 3 days later, they were back on Earth. Ellen met them at the landing site. "There's news," she said excitedly. "We're detecting new signals. Your people are here, Lyra." The real Alari fleet had arrived, smaller than what they had faked, but real. Through Lyra's device, they made contact. The Alari were surprised to find a human working with one of their scientists, breaking all their rules about non-contact. "What will happen now?" Sam asked as they waited for the Alari representatives to arrive at a secret meeting location. Lyra's skin showed thoughtful blues and greens. "Everything change. My people see humans help me, see humans save themselves. Old rules may be no good anymore. And you? Will you go home?" Lyra looked at Sam, her skin turning a warm color he had never seen before. "Home change too. Maybe I stay. Be bridge between worlds." As the stars came out, Sam and Lyra stood outside, waiting for both their worlds to collide in a way neither had imagined possible just days before. Whatever came next, Earth would never be the same, and neither would Sam. "You sheltered me when I had no home," Lyra said softly in now perfect English. Sam smiled, taking her hand. "And you welcomed me to a bigger universe than I ever dreamed of. I'd say we're even." Above them, the stars held new meaning, not just distant lights, but places where friends and enemies lived, a universe full of dangers and wonders. And Earth was no longer alone in facing them.